Daily Faceoff prospect analyst Stephen Ellis joins us as he always does for his weekly hit. And Stephen, the NHL Draft lottery, those damn lottery balls made you work extra hard yesterday redoing your mock draft. But let's start at the top where the Islanders rocket up to number 1. Are the Islanders in their just take the best player available window and don't overthink it, or is there a positional fit for them at number 1?
The Islanders have one of the worst pipelines in hockey, so they need a lot of big pieces here. And I think going out there and getting Cal Ritchie definitely gave them one really good center that they can look at there. But I think you just got to go for who the best player available is. And if I'm making that pick, I'm just going with Matthew Schaefer, but it is close because you look at the fact that Schaefer did not play a lot of hockey this year. Michael Misa had an outstanding season in the OHL, one of the best draft eligible seasons we've seen in a long time. With Schaefer, though, it's that could be. Could you imagine a defense that's run by Noah Dobson and Matthew Schaefer? Like, finding a player of Schaefer's caliber is going to be hard because you look at the Islanders next year, unless they tear things down and are at the bottom, or I should say the next 2 years, they're probably not getting Landon DuPont in 2027. That's the big defensive piece the next couple of years. Keaton Verhoff's another one for next year. Xavier Villeneuve. Like, there are some good pieces, but this is a team that was slated to pick a little later until they won the lottery there. So I'm not expecting them to be a bottom 2, bottom 3 team and get one of those top defensive prospects. You're going to find a lot of offensive talent the next couple of years. I think this year you just go out there and take Matthew Schaefer.
All right, Pat, let's throw Steven's top 5 up on the board for the mock draft because I'm really curious about what happens after this. You know, you look at the Sharks and you go, okay, Michael Misa, that makes sense. You go, you're pretty set down the middle for your team the next decade plus if you're San Jose. But I guess where I struggle or find it interesting is the Blackhawks and Porter Martone at 3. They don't need another winger. They need a center. So what do?
I would take Martone in this situation here because that's a guy out of everybody in this list. Misa's probably the one you want to go out there and score a goal because he's just got that ability to score at any point, and he's the one that you can rely on there. But Martone's a guy that you win in the playoffs with. He's the guy that's out there being aggressive. He's the one laying it on the line at all times. I know a lot of people are looking at this and saying, okay, well, he's maybe not the greatest skater. I'm not too worried about a player of his caliber figuring how to skate when he gets to the NHL and he's got high-level coaches working with him. And having watched him back to his U15, U16 year, like, this is a guy that has taken big steps forward as a skater. And for me, as good as Higgins is, I just like the idea of Martone going out there and playing with Bedard because he's always been able to play with highly skilled players, and the ability to go out there and hit guys and be aggressive and play like a Matthew Tkachuk player. Every team wants him. And if I'm picking best player available at that point, even though I do have Higgins higher up in my rankings, I just think there's a better fit there in Chicago's top 6.
Okay, so let me spin my question a different way. How close are 2 through 5 in terms of ability and impact? Let's park positions. Would it be odd for a team to pick based on positional need because these players might be construed as equals?
I think it's all really close. I'd say Misa, I would not really want to include there. I think it's more 2, like the 1, 2, and then 3 to 5. And when you're looking at there, if Martone, they're all very different players. Martone's just aggressive forward. Higgins is a really smart playmaker. Frundell, great shot. He can play center and the wing. I think when you're looking at the upside here, Martone is the guy I've watched the most in this year's draft, and I feel like he's being way too underrated. And I think it's because, again, people will say he's not a great skater, but he's taken big steps forward. I'm not worried about him growing there. Then you look at Higgins. I understand the thing where a lot of scouts want him to be a winger, and that's because he's not a very big center. There are some similarities to him and Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes figured it out. I'd say Jack Hughes is a more skilled player, so it was more likely he was going to figure it out. With Higgins, I do wonder if he will go play in the wing because he's added some muscle, but he's not that physically strong yet, and I think that could hurt him as a center. You look at Frundell, a bit stronger, but a bit too inconsistent for my liking. We just saw him at the under-18s just kind of do nothing there. So I'd say they're close, but if I'm the Blackhawks specifically, I really like the idea of Martone because he's going to cause chaos on a team that's going to have a lot of skill moving forward.
We kind of laughed before the show, Steven, that like it's a fantasy GM exercise to sit there and talk about trading down or moving away. But when you look at these 5 teams now in the top 5, and if there is, a bit of a drop off after that, are there any of them that, like, based on where they're at in the process, whether they're trending down or trending up, that you look and go like, you know what? Maybe this isn't the draft class for you. Maybe it does make sense to get something to help now and slide down in the first round a little bit.
Maybe it's the Islanders, and it's just partly because they just got house money here as a team that was not projected to pick in the top 5. They're going to get a significantly better prospect. You look at here, like the Sharks and the Blackhawks are 2 teams that by Landon Dupont's draft here in 2027 are probably going to want to take steps forward. They don't want to be down here at the bottom anymore. So maybe they move up. I doubt it. Like, that's the thing. Like we talked about it before. We just don't see trades this high up in the draft. It's such a rare thing. It seems like when you look online, people think it happens a lot more than it actually does. But if the Islanders, like, you could draft 6th, 7th, or 8th, and you're still getting an upgrade over what you thought you were getting. So that could be a situation there. Like, I know teams like Philadelphia, I believe, have 3 first rounders. Nashville's got a bunch of high picks too. Like, do those teams move up? I'm still thinking no one moves, but the Islanders would be an interesting one because they weren't probably expecting to pick first overall.
Before I let you go, just quickly, what did you make of the draft lottery presentation last night?
The winner of the 2025 NHL Draft Lottery and the first overall selection in the 2025 Upper Deck NHL Draft belongs to the New York Islanders.
Do you believe in miracles, Kenny Morrow? Because your team has pulled it off. The New York Islanders have won the NHL Draft Lottery. And that look from Kenny says it all. You have the lucky sweaters behind him, the lucky hat on top. And it's the Islanders who need a new man in charge to make that pick.
When I started to figure it out, I was with a group of like 10 or 12 people. And when we figured out what was happening, I was like, oh, that's kind of entertaining. But in a sense, I kind of like the intrigue of not knowing which card was going to come up next. In the past, I kind of missed that. I felt like that was better for TV, but the drama and seeing the live odds change, I thought they did a very good job in the broadcast yesterday. So I'll give them that credit. But draft lotteries to me are better when no teams change places and I don't have to touch my pre-written mock draft.
Well, your newly fixed up mock draft is available at dailyfaceoff.com. People can go give it a read. Steven, appreciate your time. Thanks, man.
Thanks so much.
All right, Frank, daily face-off inbox question, hashtag ask DFO. Jeremiah asked again, along those lines, do you think we see any trades in the top 10? You know who I'm really intrigued by with trading as I was watching the draft lottery odds come in? The Habs are picking at 16 and 17. Wouldn't it make sense for them to move one of those picks for some help right now?
I wouldn't be shocked if they did. I think what else is going to be really interesting is going to be what do the New York Rangers do with that number 12 overall pick? They have until 48 hours before the draft begins to decide whether or not they want to convey that pick, essentially to really to Pittsburgh. And I would do it solely because I think if things do go sideways next year, which I think they're primed for a bounce back, but let's just say on the off chance that it does go sideways, you definitely don't want to have your team win the lottery and it's the Pittsburgh Penguins that hold a 2026 unprotected first round pick, which is, one of the huge boons of the deal. I think in this uncertainty of the draft, which is a way thinner and more average draft, let the 12th overall pick go, be happy with JT Miller, and live to fight another day in 2026 with the uncertainty and unknown that surrounds it in a much, much better draft.
Yeah, we also got another one asking, now that it looks like the Islanders could get Schaefer, does it do anything for pending RFA Noah Dobson? Does it make the Islanders more open to moving him? To me, you could have a left shot in Schaefer, a right shot in Dobson. It puts even more pressure on them to get Noah Dobson signed up long-term.
Yeah, and I totally disagree with Steven. I think if you have something like this fall in your lap, that number 1 pick, don't trade it. Take it for what it is, an opportunity to pick a potentially special player and count your lucky blessings. Don't go about trying to, it's like one of those situations where if you're a blackjack player, you get a 6 and you've got a 9 and an ace for a 20 and you're like, oh, I'm going to be greedy and double down here. And then you end up with a 10 and you have 13, or whatever it is, 12,
Yeah.
11.
I get what you're
You
saying.
don't need it. You don't need
Yeah,
to do it.
let's get to our daily bets for Bet365, an official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Game props, player props, totals, money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners and, of course, the Stanley Cup champion. Whatever you bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. 2 plays tonight. I like shot prop parlay, Oilers Golden Knights. Eichel hit this in 4 straight. Draisaitl hit it in 3 of 4. I think the big guns are going to be firing a lot of pucks in this one. Plus 140 on that one. And then I also, similar to the Leafs last night, I like a little home dog to start their series. Why not? Washington, game 1 at home. I like that they're plus money, so I'm going to take the Caps on the money line tonight. And that brings us to garbage time to wrap up the show, Frank. And a little thing, again, Marc-Andre Fleury, he does the retirement thing, and then he says, hold up, I'm not done yet. He's going to the Worlds with Team Canada, and he's joining Sidney Crosby. That reunion is cool. Nathan McKinnon's going to be at the tournament as well. And maybe this is just 3 guys who all like each other and are like, hey, this would be cool to go play. Maybe this is like an unintended consequence or ripple effect of the Four Nations Faceoff, where guys are like, you know what? No, I really want to go play for Team Canada any chance I can get. I do like that the World Hockey Championships is going to have some star power again.
It's maybe a combination of all those things. I can tell you that Sidney Crosby, over the last 3 weeks of the regular season, had been campaigning for a bunch of players behind the scenes and actually personally contacting some of them to try and get them to play. And reuniting with Marc-Andre Fleury was certainly one of them. But then there was a period of time where it was touch and go. Would Crosby even play? And he was a little bit banged up, I think, to end the season, but then continued skating, kept practicing even after the Pittsburgh Penguins season ended, which I think was a sign to a lot of people that he was going to try and play for Team Canada. And now here we are, also connected again with Nathan McKinnon. Just shows you how hungry these guys are, not just for the Olympics, but really just to compete in general. It's tough for them to be sitting out, missing out on this playoff action, but to get a chance to feed that beast and to do it in a beautiful city in Stockholm kind of makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, the Stockholm angle is not bad at all. All right, Stephen Ellis will have coverage of the World Hockey Championships for us at Daily Faceoff as well. Doubleheader of playoff action. Then tomorrow we'll be here to break it all down. That is a wrap on today's edition of the show. See you right back here Wednesday at noon Eastern. What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.